Welcome back, everyone. Julie is my co-host. How are you, Julie?
Good morning, Seewing. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Fine. We've got a lot to cover. Without
Mhm.
further ado, let me share my screen, go over this article by Wall Street Journal.
Mm.
And here it is. And the headline by Wall Street Journal dated several weeks ago, October 7th, actually, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And the Great Florida Migration is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Julie, you and I know I've been in real estate investing for several decades. You've been in
Right.
the past 4 years and have 6 rental properties. We must understand that for newbies watching, each and every time I see any kind of headline by the social media, regardless of what source, we have to take it with a grain of salt because any type of social media, they are here to get clicks, get views. That's how they make the money. The more the news are sensationalized, the more doom and gloom information that causes the human to click on the article, whatever. That's the name of the game. That's the name of journalism,
Absolutely.
news articles, YouTube videos. So decipher the true nature. What's deep down inside? What are they not saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's more than the headlines. That's the fun of you and I decipher, decode the news sensationalism. You and I will provide facts and data to validate that or to defute those negative headlines.
Yes.
Do you agree?
No, I agree 100%. It is hard to believe days, and of course, we're dating ourselves, but where there was some very credible news people on there, and you knew if they said it, it was true. Now, it could be anybody writing from their mom's basement. You don't know if it's true or not, so you really do have to do the research.
Those typical crash doomers
Mm-hmm.
getting thousands of views. Talk about housing crash every month, every year for 10 years.
Right.
And that hasn't happened. But that's another story where you and I have covered those crash bros.
Absolutely. To an end.
Exactly. War coming up and the sky is for migration is coming undone. Surplus of housing inventory, dwindling buyer interest, slowing sales. Hurricanes and extreme weather are making it worse. Okay, that's factually true. We're going to skip the first part of the article, talk about this guy. This guy tried to sell his 550K home outside Tampa. It had taken him several months. He still have not sold his house, whatever. Yeah, I know you interviewing one person. Maybe he didn't price his house correctly,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe the list price is not fair market price, whatever. We don't know the real reasons about why, but news article, they always begin by showing a victim of
Yes.
housing market, show how bad things are. Things could be bad for him. He put the high price, bought it for 550K, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe a year ago, tried to sell it for 583.
Mm-hmm.
And after several months, still no buyers. National news media, including Wall Street Journal, to start off by showing a human interest case, yellow highlights across much of Florida, and especially along the western coast. A surplus of inventory and dwindling buyer interest are slowing sales and keeping homes in the market longer. That is cooling off one of America's biggest housing booms this decade, right? I've been following the Florida market as I follow many other markets in the country. I only
Right.
rent properties in Florida, Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Las Vegas, cash flow turnkey properties. I guess many of them also
Right.
in recent years as well. But so I know from a high level in each particular market. Furthermore, I have several hundred of our investors have continued to buy in Florida.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You buy in good locations, I will get into
Right.
that. Am I an expert in Florida? Not really.
Mhm.
My team on the ground at various strategic locations in Florida, they are expert in doing this. So they feed me credible information on the housing market. It's all about what location. So you can't paint a picture of, oh, entire state of Florida is coming
Yes.
undone. No, it's crashing there, right?
That's interesting because they take advantage of the recent hurricane and they make that a trend. Like buying is slowing down. People are concerned, but if you look at the history of Florida, it's like California, it doesn't matter what we have going on. People are always going to buy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I live in San Francisco Bay Area for the past 30 years. Housing prices here are sky high, the highest in
Yes.
You
Yeah.
live in Southern California, inland of LA, experience some very high price homes.
Yes.
We get it. We get all that. Okay, let's get back to this article. Florida population soared between 2021 and 2023, making it the fastest growing state to that period. Remote work and lifestyle changes spurred by the pandemic accelerated a migration trend to the Southeast and to the Sunshine State in particular. So yeah, well, I repeat myself, Florida has been the fastest growing state, not only in the past few years during the pandemic, but even before that, even before pre-pandemic, we had from all over the country and all over the world or just have migrated into Florida, have invested in Florida as well. And think about it. Recently, the most recent data, like a year ago, 1,000 people moved into Florida every single day. So 365,000 people move into Florida every year. The migration may be slowing down. To what extent? Too early to tell.
I agree with that. They've just been devastated by 2 hurricanes. So of course, it's going to be slow. But come January, February, when the market picks up everywhere nationwide, those areas going to pick up as well.
I absolutely agree. Okay. Furthermore, the warm climate, lack of state income tax, and less business regulation than in many other states compared to make Florida a hotbed for corporate relocations and new residents. For wealthier migrants from New York, Chicago, and California, Florida home seems like a bargain. Yeah,
That is.
it is a bargain in certain areas. You and I know that's why our investors are buying affordable homes for cash flow in strategic locations in Florida. But for the most part, Florida is coming almost unaffordable, skyrocketing of housing prices that occurred during the pandemic.
I agree.
There are still opportunities, but it's beyond, perhaps it's beyond the scope of today's presentation, but we just talked about what this headline by Wall Street Journal tried to address. Let me continue. After doubling in value between 2017 and 2024, home prices in certain locations in Florida, in many locations in Florida, have doubled at times. In certain neighborhoods have tripled in prices, which is mind-boggling of the pandemic housing boom, not just in Florida, but all over the country, really, if you think about it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, with home values at an all-time high in many locations in the U.S., analysts worry that a price correction might be just around the corner. Again, I look at each word, each terminology with a grain of salt. What they mean by price correction. So, price correction, what, 5 or 10% decrease in home prices? Yeah. For my definition of price correction, like 30, 40, 50%.
Right.
That's not happening. That's beyond the scope of today's presentation, Julie. You and I have done recent videos to determine the chance of a high housing crash is.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Real estate is local. Some price deterioration in some areas. Not everywhere in Florida, deterioration sounds negative, but insurance premiums in Florida are up as much as 400% over the past 5 years in certain areas. One of the fastest increases in the country in Florida. You have to that's why I have to highlight the word in certain areas. 100% insurance premium increases over the past 5 years in certain areas. Real estate consultants in my markets that we are selling our cash flow homes, and they said this type of very high level exaggeration of high insurance premium mainly close to the water. Okay,
That makes sense.
Yeah. Inland Florida, slight increase in insurance premium.
Right.
Or away from the hurricane, not in the flood zone. Inland, 20, 30, 40, 50 miles. That's what our investors are buying affordable cash flow key properties with new construction, single family home to fourplex.
I remember we talked about insurance in Florida. You were saying Florida insurances are much less than other places. Again, it's where you buy. You have to know where to buy.
You have to know what neighborhood, street, location, just to validate. This chart tells the supply and demand for Florida homes in August 2024. There are, from a year earlier, there are more inventories in Florida and in Texas and a few other states recently. But this chart indicates there are more supply than demand in various big metros in Florida: Orlando, Palm Bay, Tampa, Miami, Cape Coral, Daytona, Jacksonville. Now, this chart doesn't say what is the supply demand inventory of homes. And according to Redfin, right now we stand per September 2024 Redfin report. There's a 4 months supply of inventory nationwide. Okay. But in this over inventory market, excess inventory market on the cities in Florida, most inventory supply demand is like 4 to 6 months, which is right at balanced market. Demand pretty much equals supply. In other words, it's a healthy housing market in these cities, which I just went over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 4 to 6 months. Yeah, there's some sort of a buyer's market. Investors can negotiate better deals toward fiscal. Builders want to get rid of the excess inventory, providing more incentives to buy, like a buyer rate buy down, closing costs, reimbursement, and a whole bunch of stuff. But to say that the housing prices is plummeting would be a overstatement.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
It's about location, what asset class, what type of properties, what locations. The media and housing crash bros and the housing porn boomers, the crashing of the Florida's condo market. Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. The Florida's condo market is a correction is already here. Okay, I get it. I get it. Why? In case some of you have not been keeping up, prices are plummeting in certain locations. What are the specifics? The condo prices are plummeting at many older buildings. Condo units built 10 years ago or less, are selling for about 9% more today than last year. 30 years old or older are going for 19% less, according to brokerage ISG World. Many owners have to find all cash buyers because mortgage lenders won't take the risk associated with these units. So they're not doing financing. There's one example in Miami where this home, which is pictured right here, this condo, at one time they were listing for $450,000. Now, since buyers are unable to get financing due to the building, the price has plummeted.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
$200,000. So in case people don't know, a few years ago, the Surfside condo building was cut down. A lot of people.
Oh, yeah, that was tragic.
A lot of older condos, more than 30 years old, like 3 or 4 stories high. The assessment fees has skyrocketed.
Oh, yeah.
Insurance premiums skyrocketed because of these older condos that are unable to meet the code, the safety code against the hurricane and that. That's understandable. Yes, there are like almost 12,000 condos all over Florida, especially in South Florida. More than 30 years old that have not kept up with the HO fees and the assessment fees, that have not kept up with the code violation. And those condo owners are in for a very, very severe situation. Okay. But again, those are old condos. They are subject to a lot of stress, and it'll take several years for this asset class to stabilize. Meanwhile, there's a lot of stress on the older condos. The newer condos, high luxury condos in good locations that are built recently, they will be fine. They'll be fine. And a lot of wealthy people are gonna buy these kind of condos. We talk about multi-million-dollar condos in South Florida and elsewhere along the coastal areas of Florida. They'll be fine. Miami is doing well regardless, because even though the inventory is up, but not yet at the level it was before the pandemic. But new jobs in South Florida, all cash buyers and wealthier residents to the city have kept prices up in South Florida, Miami area, according to this guy, Gary. Anyway, yes, insurance is a situation. And with recent hurricanes, here's my takeaway. The Florida migration is coming undone. Listen, the migration data will not occur until a few months later, 3, 4, 5
Right.
months, when U-Haul, a report, and other mainstream research companies going to come out with the what's the in migration, what's the out migration. We don't know
Right.
for any articles, good or bad, credible or not, coming from Wall Street Journal or Redfin or Realtor.com, to say that the mass exodus out of Florida
Right.
happening right now.
Is that happening?
It's not, I'm not saying it's not happening, but we don't have the data yet. It's too soon.
Right. It's a good point. It's too soon. The data hasn't had a chance to be tested or proven. Yeah, I think is what you're saying. Yeah.
Redfin, the website, I use a lot of my videos from time to talk about
Sure.
the Redfin monthly data, and I'm going to continue to produce that on my next video, as a matter of fact. Redfin shows the various markets. Sales are down. True, because we've gone through a Hurricane Helene and Hurricane
Right.
Jen. It takes time for the recovery efforts to occur, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it takes time. During aftermath, there are no sales transactions for several weeks, right? The data is going to show, pending sales is going to be low. New listings and active listings is going to be lower because everything comes to a halt when you go through a major hurricane.
If we had a major earthquake, yeah, of course, no one's going to want to run to California and buy property. So they think the whole world is like, or the whole state is coming down after the shock. People will be back.
Look, Florida have gone through a hurricane on a consistent basis for
That is true.
for years and
That's
years.
good.
In the past, it didn't stop people from coming. It's not perfect, but it's sunshine. People may disagree, which is fine.
Yeah.
The number does not lie. The Florida
Right.
have been growing for years, but am I going to see a slowdown a little bit? Yes. In-migration is not going to be as much as during the pandemic. Some local lower demographics of Floridians, they are tired of this hurricane. They are on a tight budget. And the rising housing prices in Florida and the rising mortgage rates, many of these people are going to move inland, away from the flood zone. Coincidentally, that's where our investment properties are being promoted for sale. There's a migration going on. People from the coastal areas, especially the lower demographics, like I said, they're moving inland to Florida, to 30, 40, 50 miles inland, so they can have a less severe of situation. So I see the remigration of happening from coastal Florida into central Florida and away from the weather related conditions. Some people will move out, some locals, some low end demographics of Floridians, they're going to move away from Florida. They're going to move to Alabama, they're going to move to Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, whatever, right? So
Right.
we can see some trends, nothing major yet.
Right.
To say, but the coastal areas, yes, is very severe. But the coastal Florida, you have a lot of multi-million-dollar homes.
Oh yeah, like
Those-
Beverly Hills.
Those wealthy owners, even if their homes got destroyed in the coastal areas, they can rebuild. They have the
Of
money
course.
to rebuild. They can rebuild to a safety code which meet the hurricane code, and their insurance premium will be okay. Will be
That makes sense. My takeaway is the article was not untrue, but you have to take it with a grain of salt. Look at the facts. If you just look at the headlines, it looks like the entire state of Florida is leaving. People need to be aware. Don't look at the headline, read the fine print, and do your research.
As we conclude this video, if you see any value, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please comment on the things that you want, the things that Julie and I just said. If you live in Florida, whether you live in coastal area, whether you currently live in Central Florida somewhere, please comment as to what we mentioned, and we welcome comments. We answer them the best we could. So anyway, and of course, last but not least, please, if you have not done so already, put your email into our database on our website. You become a subscriber to our email list. We talk about the housing market, real estate investing opportunities in Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma. We have turnkey affordable homes for investors. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.